want the best for people around me. That has always genuinely been my heart. I hope that, I try not to be too deep, but I've always been that person who's too deep, like, and I feel like y'all always telling me like it's not that deep, but for me it always is that deep. I've always been the emotional one, which y'all always thought that made me dramatic.
We're always crying,
but not as emotional. It's just that's true. We manifest it differently. That's true. But like, this has also been a thing for me. Wanting the best for everyone around me, to the point that sometimes I would like put myself on the line. And recently I've been like having to train myself to realize that I can't help anyone who doesn't want help. And that has always been like my heart. And then I got to a point where I felt like what I was investing in people I wasn't getting back. Because y'all know friendships has always been an issue for me, and that's something I wanted to get into a little bit, because I've always yearned for a sisterhood. Y'all know that. And it's like the universe refuses for me to have it, because he didn't give me a biological sister, okay? And then, you know, I had so many girl best friends, and they just ended terribly. And no fault of my, no, I won't even say that. I'm sure I played a role in it, but I genuinely feel like I like laid my life on the line to like make the relationship work, and maybe I gave too much, and people, I don't know, I'm still figuring it out. I still don't have like a best friend. Apart from like you're my cousin, that's by default. I don't, and that's something I'm working on, I'm praying about. Because I think sisterhood is important.
I've learned to accept it. I was the same way.
Really?
And remember, I had like 2 real good best friends. And it was through a close friend of my husband's, who's a close friend of mine, so he's like family. And he was in these relationships, and I met, and I mean, he had several, of course, but but there were 2 of the women that I actually got really close with. One back in my high school years, and then another recently, or like maybe like early out in my marriage. And I yearn for the same thing. Like, I'm like, outside of my family, who I know is always going to support me, who's always going to be there for me, who's always going to root for me. I'm like, I need like I need like a girlfriend.
I don't have one.
And I've learned to accept it. I'm like, I'm 32, and I'm like, wow, I don't need them. And I was like, and the reason why I came to that is because I'm like, maybe God doesn't want them in my life. Like, he doesn't want that type for me right now. Not even a type of individual. Right now, my focus is my family. My focus is me. My career, what I'm trying to do. Figuring out how I can contribute to my community, my culture. I think I've learned to accept it. So I stopped actually looking. And there's a lot of people that genuinely, they see me, and I can tell like they want more, like, yeah, we should hang out, we should go out. But and I don't turn away from it. I really don't. I'm open-minded, but I stop
wanting it bad.
I stopped making it an important thing, something I think about. It's not something I think about now. I have my family. I think about it every day.
I'm gonna be honest with you, and it might be because I don't have my own sister. Somebody said, what I hear a lot of females say, I don't have female friends. I only hang with guys because females are just too much. Like, And Issa Rae, are you familiar? Am I saying her name correctly?
Issa Rae,
She put this tweet up and said, I feel sorry for the woman who doesn't have female friend, only hangs with guys. And I'm like, why are we trained to believe that wherever there's a group of female women, there's going to be drama? And if we understood how strong sisterhood is, because we are going through like the same thing, you know? And then I don't think the media is helping, because every reality show is just showing us that women can't
get along.
We either have to compete with each other, talk about each other, or tear each other down. And I think that's probably why I'm so passionate about women empowerment. Because I want it so bad, you know? Hopefully, it's a journey. I'm evolving. Hopefully, at some point in my life, maybe at old age, I'll have that. At old age, you know, ride or die woman.
Or maybe like, you realize that you do have it. For me, I realize I have it in you guys. And I do have women in my workplace that encourage me and motivate me. That I'm actually, I just actually had lunch with them a few weeks ago. I'm like, this is a big step after all this time.
And even women at church too.
At church, right?
Yes, we do.
Exactly. So for me, I've come to realize that I already have that support. So for me, a yearning for the person to be like someone that's non-related, non-related to me, or someone that's just came from a different walk of life. I don't need that.
Yeah. Right. A Gail to your Oprah.
Right.
Or Oprah to your
But there has to be, in order for there to be like that best friend relationship, there has to be something that's connecting you to. Right. Like maybe a similar
common
life experience.
Interest.
Or common interest.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I feel with Fern. You guys all know she's my best friend. Yeah. And we talk pretty much all the time. Yeah. And there are times where we don't talk because I know that she is in her relationship. Yeah. She's married and I want to give her that space. But I always feel like we come back. We always have a chance to come back. There's no love lost. And I still talk to her to this, to this day.
It has to be organic.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's so
you can't
natural.
force it.
Yeah, you can't force
and you have to accept someone for who they are.
Absolutely.
Like their faults, whatever it is. And I know she accepts me. And sometimes she's like, girl, you are a mess.
Get it? She'll tell you.
But
she's so funny.
Yeah, but the thing is, I love that I can have someone in addition to you guys that I can kind of express myself and literally be, look, no makeup, headscarf, FaceTiming, what you doing?
And you know what I noticed about your relationship with her is she gets you.
Yes.
Like, you can say very few words. Like, the other day, that text she told me she sent you, which I don't have to get into, and I didn't understand a lick of what she just said. And Chris was like, yeah, we get it. I think, like you said, it just has to be organic. There's certain people you meet, you just click, and you can not talk for months, but when you come back together, it's like you never, parted. I do think it has to be genuine. The funny thing is, as much as I'm saying I yearn for that bond, I also have my guard up a lot. Like, before I get to that point with anybody, I'm real like, I'm filling you out. I'm trying to figure out what your motives are, which is probably not that deep. You would think, being my friend is a lot of work. Because then I expect so much from you. I am very demanding, but I give myself too. That's the thing. I don't expect anything that I have not invested. And I felt like, again, not to like repeat myself, but I'll invest so much and not get it back. You know? Pray for me. It's a journey. But there's this point in my book where, in the people pleasing syndrome part where, I talk about my first experience in like a real relationship, or my first boyfriend was in a real relationship. And how this girl wanted to fight me. She never met me, probably didn't even know my name. She wanted to fight me just on the grounds that her boyfriend or ex-boyfriend had interest in me. That, for me, was my first experience with the dynamic of what America or society feeds us that female interaction should be like. It's a competition. We're all fighting for man's attention. And I was like, dang, you just don't like me for we probably could be best friends. Like, you didn't even get to know me. I didn't even do anything. He likes me, and you want to beat me up, like chase me home, jump me. You want me gone, executed.
Yes, the guy is still there and they still want their attention, but he's not even giving you the time of day. He's not even treating you the way you want to be treated.
But you're willing to attack another woman. Young lady,
That's when I realized this is going to be like a long life of dealing with, because you guys, my cousins, y'all know I've been through it. I don't know why, but I have always had
because growing up, there was always that pretty girl. And you were the pretty girl. And when you were the pretty girl,
I think so.
And you're gorgeous too.
I never thought I was.
What happens is, and even me, because I'm really observant. So when growing up, I'm like, oh, okay. In everywhere I went, there was a pretty girl, quote unquote. And the pretty girl was just allowed to be pretty. That's it. You can't really be smart. You can't really be, this nerdy. You can't really be anything else but pretty. And then the problem is, though, when you only focus on one pretty girl, you forget that there's a bunch of pretty girls in the room. And then you lose that equality right there already. And indirect.
Yeah.
We don't realize it.
Yeah.
And we label people a certain way, and they can just be that.
Yeah.
And what happens is it creates envy in other women.
Yeah.
Because it's like, whoa, she is beautiful, but I'm beautiful too.
Right.
But everybody's focused on that definition of the pretty girl.
Yeah.
You had the beautiful hair. You were a certain skin complexion. You were doing this. You were modeling and stuff like that. You were the pretty girl.
Yeah.
And so for her, whatever insecurity she had, whatever she was going through, she didn't like that.
Right.
It didn't sit well with her.
Right.
And unfortunately, the due diligence wasn't done from wherever background she came from or whoever is in her environment for her to be like, oh, all right, forget it. And so now we make it, you know, it looks like it was about the guy, but it wasn't.
It really wasn't even about you.
Yeah.
Right. It was really more so about her
what
and her
they're
own
going
insecurities.
through.
Right.
Yeah.
And we don't realize that. And that's where, and like I said, the work starts young.
Absolutely.
It starts really, really young.
At home.
Like you said, 3 years old, you were already, people were already told who you were.
Yeah.
So it starts really young, and it's building that confidence and knowing who you are. And and even, you know, even little things like I noticed with my kids, you know, little things that we do that I'm like, wait a minute, why? Because, you know, my kids will be playing Shane and Nyla, they fight all the time, they're at that age, and then I'll grab Shani, like, don't hit her that hard. Yeah. Meanwhile, Nyla's looking like, I'm good.
Right.
Like, I'm straight. I can handle it.
Yeah.
Because now we're teaching him to be extra sensitive to her unnecessarily.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we're treating her to say, well, why can't I play rough? Why can't I
like she's fragile?
Right. Nothing is being done crazy,
true.
but it starts so young.
That's very
and
true.
I start to realize that, you know, of course, throughout my journey, observing and being married and being a mom.
Absolutely.
And you see how we indirectly teach
Yeah.
the children, each other, these things.
Yeah.
And it reflects. And I think that's like you said, at the end of the day, our job as mothers, women, sisters, friends, etc., is to try to instill these more positive things that hopefully when that person is not around or when that person is going through, it comes out and it shows and it reflects.
It's so funny you say that, because what came to mind is this meme, and I think I shared it with y'all at one point where was it Arthur? Maybe DW was like looking outside at Arthur having like living his best life but she had to like stay in and do laundry. And how that's like, even with our mothers, like, you know, male versus female, like this sort of sexism, the double standards. Yeah, how like, you know, how they could just
the brother over you.
Girl. I remember those days where Saturdays were the cleaning day for the girls only. Meanwhile, the boys are like playing video games. What's going, you know what I mean? And so we do have to be careful. We have to be careful not to like translate that too.
Because we're teaching, and they're only, honestly, they're doing what they learned and what they know. And so I think we have to come to a point where we're changing it.
When you know better, you do better.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And I think that's my whole goal. Like, I'm trying to like, I learned some awesome things from my parents.
Definitely.
Like my parents' hard work, you know, dedication, commitment. Like, I learned a lot of things from my parents. But at the same time, I also learned what not to do too. And I think it's not only do you want to recognize that, but you want to act on that. So I'm like, all right, how can I approach my kids differently? Even my marriage, I'm like, yo, like, you know, when you go back to sexism, I'm like, there's certain things that happen. I'm like,
that wasn't okay.
Seriously. I know. And my mom, like, when I first got married, you know, anybody who know me, like, if we ever got deep, when I first got married, I felt the pressure to be that perfect wife. I'm like, first of all, y'all know I wasn't cooking like that. So that was already out the door. And then I'm like, all right, the house has to be perfect and everything has to be this and everything has to be that. What I started to realize is I wasn't being 100% me. I didn't like that. And I'm a very opinionated, vocal person. If I feel something so one time I'm like arguing, we had this heated argument, and he's like, "You're not the man."
Oh. Definitely shouldn't have said that to Tosh.
The bass came out. When I tell you that thing was heated, I was like, what? But after, you know, we settled down, we didn't make up that time. But when things settled down, I'm like, why did he say that? I'm like, why did he say that? Is it because I'm opinionated?
Right.
Is it because I'm standing firm on what I believe in?
Yeah.
Is it because, and I know, and Shane always pushed me. He pushed me to be the best. He wants me to be stronger. He feels like sometimes you need to be, you need to go hard. Like,
so you don't feel like.
Right. So I know it's not like him trying to belittle me or model me. But at the same time, for me, my recognition was indirectly, he learned that I have to have a place as well.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we need to work on that.
Yeah.
I said, we need to work on that because not only do I have to experience that at work, and I have to experience that in business, I have to experience that in church.
Absolutely.
I don't want to experience that at home.
Yeah.
And I said, and I'm comfortable, in the beginning, like I said in the beginning, I would just, all right, just
yes to
everyone's like, you guys are arguing, blah, 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 and all of that pressure, all of that came on me, and I'm like, I do it because I have a side. Yeah. I have a say-so.
Sure.
I have something to say.
Yeah.
And that should be okay. And for us, God, we're pushing 11 years. We've made it this far. So I'm like, look, at the end of the day, you like accept me flaws and all. Yeah. But I ain't keeping my mouth shut.
Sure. When we know you won't. And you shouldn't.
Yeah. And
you shouldn't.
Yeah. So
I had a similar experience in my marriage. I was like the perfect. Y'all know I'm cooking all the time, cleaning, apron. I was like the housewife. And there actually was a point where I stayed home for a while because I thought I wanted to pursue, maybe start my own business, be one of those little YouTube home moms. I was miserable. I was miserable, and I started to see my husband expect certain things from me. It was like everything became my responsibility. So I was no longer cooking because I enjoyed it. It was like a responsibility, which yes, we gotta eat. But it was kind of like I couldn't be tired. I wasn't allowed to like have a day where I was like, let's take out. It was kind of like, nah, you at home. You're not doing it. Let's get a meal, together. Let's get the laundry folded, make sure, And I was like, this is not me. And no offense to the woman who does that. It's just, I think you have to get to a point where if you're not maximizing your potential and you're not operating your purpose, you will be unhappy. For some women, that's what they aspire to be, and so they're extremely happy in that. I respect that woman, but I realize I'm not a stay-at-home wife or mom. You remember our conversations. I was miserable, and I was like, girl, Ray is about to get strangled today. I love my husband to death, but it was these moments, and I had to go back to work, and now I feel that sense of independence, and I'm not cooking as much as I used to. I love to cook. I'm a great cook. I'm gonna cook when I feel like it. But we're gonna eat. But there's that pressure, and it's so freeing when you get to the point where you're like, no, you figure out what you're gonna eat. That feels great. So that's interesting.
It's the thing with Shane though is Shane cooks. So for me it was like he was like, all right, you don't have, like, he would switch up. It was like, all right, you don't have to cook a lot, cook. Blah, blah, blah.
But then they'll get mad that he's doing it. Like, I shouldn't be doing it as often as I.
And it's that whole mental thing, because I'm like, all right, but wait a minute, we both work.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like I come home after 6:30, 7 o'clock. So I'm like, for me to always be the person that tried to fit into this role, it wouldn't be fair. And so I think we definitely acknowledge that our marriage is a partnership. And we definitely acknowledge that we both have responsibilities to not only each other, but to the kids and to building our foundation, our home.
But do you feel like you set that expectation from the beginning? Just because the reason why I say that is just being in the workforce, we always talk about giving feedback and expressing ourselves and telling someone else, hey, this is what you're not doing, or this is what I'm not happy with. But you can't hold someone accountable if you didn't set that expectation in the beginning of the relationship. So do you feel like with your marriages that you set that expectation, this is what my role is, this is what your role is,
I didn't do it from the beginning.
Here's how we're going to find that balance.
Neither did I. But you know what? As human beings, we have the right to evolve.
Yeah.
I know I keep using that word, but it's so important.
Right.
I cannot be held to a standard that I gave you 3 years ago. I'm not the same woman I was 3 years ago.
Right.
And we have to respect each other and understand that we're both changing and we're now on this journey together.
Right.
And I think that's the problem, is that going back to the people you love in your life, if they feel if something's not broken, don't try to fix it.
Right.
And they are angry with you that you are shifting from their comfort zone. Right. They're like, no, we had something working.
Right.
You were cooking. Don't mess up what we, and you're like, but I'm a different woman now.
Right.
Yeah.
I want to be a businesswoman now. Right. That changed. I don't want to, and it's understanding. That's why I think friendship is so important first. Partnership is so important first. Communication is important. Because if we have that dialogue, you'll be like, you know what, honey, I have new dreams and goals, and I need you to support me in that.
Right.
So yes, initially in that sense, Ray could be pissed at me. I sold him a very good dream, and as did he, because he used to be very helpful in the house. Like, I could cook. You are never going to be hungry. The laundry's always going to be done, and the house is always going to be clean. So he probably wants a refund. I don't know. But I'm not that woman anymore. Right. Sorry. Now I want to be the CEO. Right? You might have to hire a house nanny. Right? But I think when we get to a point, like, there's things that needs to be done, and it just needs to be done. It shouldn't matter who has to do it.
Right.
Let's just organize our home, and
you're a team.
Like, setting that expectation and also resetting that expectation.
So reset.
Whatever it actually looks like for you guys,
you
just have to communicate that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Continual reset.